Oh, $15.
$15. And that includes all taxes, doesn't it?
It does, yes, I declare it.
Sounds like another salon avec la poésie.
Yeah. Anyway, Barry, over to you.
The Birmingham Philharmonic Orchestra was formed in 1940, shortly before I was formed. If you can believe their website, it is one of Britain's best amateur orchestras, drawing members from all walks of life throughout the West Midlands. The walk of life it drew me from was engineering apprenticeship. For 6 months before going to Cambridge, I worked in a factory in Birmingham. My vanishingly small wages had a half-life of hours. I came to worship peanut butter in the public library and went everywhere by bike. On Sunday mornings, I'd cycle across town with a French horn under my arm to let off steam with the aforementioned Philharmonic. For anyone unfamiliar with the horn, let off steam is a figure of speech. One weekend, we performed in Her Majesty's Prison, Winson Green, for the edification and delight of the inmates. The capacity audience was positively boisterous, suggesting to the innocent an intense love for classical music. When the baton was raised, however, the hubbub intensified. Our conductor turned to the rows of thugs, crooks, and unfortunates who had variously displeased Her Majesty and asked for quiet. The instant silence was almost frightening. We began with a Sullivan overture, tremendous clapping, cheers, whistles, as warders paced the aisles, alert for anyone in need of 6 weeks solitary. The prisoners, for whatever reason, had a ball that day, and the Philharmonic ego enjoyed an uncommon boost. 3 years later, after graduating, I toiled once more in that same dark, satanic mill. Sunday mornings were now too precious to squander on rehearsals. I signed up for evening lessons at the School of Music instead. A horn teacher needs to flatter sometimes, to offset despair in students of that difficult instrument. My teacher, failing to talk me out of engineering into a horn career, pronounced dolefully, "A great loss to the profession." The profession, of course, has been reeling ever since. During a lesson one evening, the door burst open. "Excuse me, but can you play Tchaik Five tonight, Barry?" This was Adrian, absent-minded horn player and budding professional. "What time? Where?" 8:30, after the intermission. It's the Birmingham Phil." He gave complicated directions to the hall. I'd never played Tchaikovsky's Fifth and had a free evening. "Okay, and don't worry, I've got a map." I dashed home, changed, reached the hall at 7:45. Mysterious silence. For some reason, the concert hadn't started yet. The audience were watching an empty stage like cats at a mouse hole. At last, the players shambled glumly on. I recognized the other horns from the music school. John, who liked to practice long notes with a chemistry textbook on his stand. And Paul, a specialist in the low register, where he boasted a formidable fortissimo. Finally, the conductor, the very man who had charmed the prisoners at Winson Green, but looking all out of charm on this occasion. When the music started, I was glad I hadn't had to pay for a ticket. Tuning like flat beer, togetherness that wasn't together, looks of surprise and puzzlement. Note, continue lying in on Sundays. At intermission, I headed backstage into a Force 9 hullabaloo. The conductor was in a cadenza of outrage, brandishing his baton like a weapon of mass distraction. "I've never heard such abominable playing. Out of time, out of tune. Only 3 horns. Under no circumstances will I conduct the symphony." Someone said there was a horn player sitting in the audience. Who was that? Uh-oh. It was me. Why the devil weren't you up on stage? Because 3 hours ago I hadn't even heard of your concert, and I was only asked for the Tchaikovsky. It's not his fault. Well, let's not waste him now he's here. Won't you at least conduct? Under no circumstances. But there was one circumstance. The concertmaster offered to take the baton instead. This had a bracing effect within moments. The conductor magnanimously agreed to carry on. What's all the fuss? Oh, said Adrian, the principal oboe and principal flute were in my car, and we couldn't find the bloody hall. Starting without these three would be like raising the curtain without Banquo, Macbeth, or First Witch in the house. Now, Tchaikovsky's upper lip, notoriously, did not meet British standards of stiffness. Nonetheless, he was awarded an honorary doctorate by Cambridge in 1893. In that same generous spirit, with tensions largely sublimated, we wore our hearts on our sleeves that night and played to beat the band. Passion made up for imprecision. And Adrian redeemed himself with a flawless solo in the Andante. Wikipedia says this symphony exhibits the narrative paradigm of per aspera ad astra, or in the demotic, through rough times to triumph. Well, the Birmingham Phil got that right, but for me, Tchaik Five has never been quite the same since.